Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Our subject is General Science. It is lecture number 22 and our topic is cell, tissues and organs. Today we will discuss about the introduction about main topic, then basic biological science, then cell and its types, then tissues and its types, then organs, skin and heart. Now we will study about the basic biological science. First of all, biology. Biology is the study of life. Biology is the natural science that studies life and living organisms, including their physical structure, chemical processes, molecular interactions, physiological mechanisms, development and evolution. Despite the complexity of the science, certain unifying concepts consolidates it into a single coherent field. Biology recognizes the cell, the basic unit of life, genes as the basic unit of heredity, and the evolution as the engine that propels the creation and extinction of species. Living organisms are open systems that survive by transforming energy and decreasing their local entropy to maintain a stable and vital condition defined as homeostasis. So subdisciplines of biology, they are defined as by the research methods employed and the kind of systems studied. Theoretical biology uses mathematical methods to formulate quantitative models, while experimental biology performs empirical experiments to test the validity of proposed theories and understand the mechanism underlying life and how it appears and evolved from the non-living matters about 4 billion years ago through a gradual increase in the complexity of the system. Then, what is life? The actual definition of life has yet been established according to the views of modern science. The definition of life is nothing but the activities of protoplasm. In other words, we can explain it that life is a characteristic that distinguishes physical entities that have biological processes such as signaling and self-sustaining processes from those that do not, either because such functions have ceased, they have died, or because they never had such functions and are classified as inanimate. If we see its real meaning of life, then actual meaning of life is to fulfill your purpose in life and accomplish your goals. What I mean by this is, everyone has a purpose of why they are living. So none of us will be here if we all didn't have a purpose. Then the next term is anatomy. What is anatomy? So this is the study of the structure of the body. Anatomy is basically the identification and description of the structure of living things. It is a branch of biology and medicines, and the study of anatomy goes back over 2000 years to the ancient Greeks. So it can be divided into three broad areas: human anatomy, zootomy, or animal anatomy, and phytotomy, which is plant anatomy. So anatomy is a branch of biology concerned with the study of structure of organisms and their parts. So anatomy is a branch of natural science which deals with the structural organization of living things, and it is an old science having its beginning in prehistoric times. So anatomy is inherently tied to developmental biology, embryology, comparative anatomy, evolutionary biology, and phylogeny, as these are the processes by which anatomy is generated both over immediate and long-term time scales. Anatomy and physiology, which studies the structure and functions of organisms and their parts respectively, so make a natural pairs of related disciplines and are often studied together. So, human anatomy is one of the essential basic sciences that are applied in medicines. The discipline of anatomy is divided into microscopic and macroscopic. So, macroscopic anatomy or gross anatomy is the examination of an animal's body parts using unaided eyesight, and gross anatomy also includes the branch of superficial anatomy. So, macroscopic anatomy involves the use of optical instruments in the study of the tissues of various structures known as histology, and also in the study of cells. So, also the history of anatomy is characterized by the progressive understanding of the functions of the organs and structure of the human body, and methods have been improved dramatically, advancing from the examination of animals by dissection of the cases and cadavers to the 20th century. So, it's a medical imaging technique including X-ray, ultrasound, and magnetic resonance imaging. So, the other word is physiology. So, physiology is the study of the functions of normal human body. Physiology, this is origin from the Greek word, and is the scientific study of functions and mechanisms in the living organisms as a subdiscipline of biology. Physiology focuses on how organisms, organ systems, individual organs, cells, and biomolecules carry out the chemicals and physical functions in the living system. So, according to the classes of organisms, the field can be divided into medical physiology, animal physiology, plant physiology, cell physiology, and comparative physiology. So, the central to the physiological functioning are biophysical and biochemical processes, homeostasis, control mechanisms, and communications between cells. Physiological state, the condition of the normal functions, with pathological state refers to the abnormal conditions including human diseases. So, the Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine is awarded by the Royal Swedish Academy of Sciences for exceptional scientific achievements in physiology related to the field of medicines. Now, the other is cell. What is cell? Cell is the structural and functional unit of living organisms. The cell meaning small. This is from Latin cella. This is the basic structural, functional, and biological unit of all known organisms. A cell is the smallest unit of life. Cells are often called the building blocks of life. The study of cell is called cell biology, cellular biology, or cytology. Cell consists of cytoplasm enclosed within the membrane, which contains many biomolecules such as proteins and nucleic acids. So, most plant and animal cells are only visible under the light microscope with dimensions between 1 and 100 micrometers. So, electron microscopy gives a much higher resolution showing greatly detailed cell structure. Organisms can be classified as unicellular, mean consisting of a single cell such as bacteria, or multicellular, including plants and animals. So, most unicellular organisms are classed as microorganisms. So, the number of cells in plants and animals varies from species to species. So, it has been estimated that humans contain somewhere around 40 trillion, means 4 into 10 raised to power 13 cells. The human brain accounts for around 80 billion of these cells. So, cells were discovered by Robert Hooke in 1665, who named them for resemblance to cell inhabited by Christian monks in the monastery. So, cell theory first developed in 1839 by Matthias Jacob Skeleton and Theodore Scan. They stated that all organisms are composed of one or two cells. So, that cells are the fundamental unit of structure and function in all living organisms, and that all cells comes from pre-existing cells, and cell emerged on earth as least 3.5 billion years ago. Now there are some types of cells like on the basis of structure of nucleus cell is of two types. The first type is prokaryotic cells means bacteria, and the second type is eukaryotic cell means human cells. And on the basis of physiological functions, cell is of two types, and that is somatic cells mean body cells, and the second is sex cells means reproductive cell. So there are over 200 different cell types in the human body. Each type of cell is specialized to carry out a particular function, either solely but usually by forming a particular tissues. So different tissues then combine and form specific organs, where the organ is like a factory where every type of cell has its own job. So cells are similar to factories with different laboratories and departments that work toward a common objectives, and various types of cells perform different functions based on cellular structures. There is some function of cells. Ingestions and assimilations, the process by which food substances are taken into the cells of body after they have been digested and absorbed. Then growth and repair, development and regeneration of organs. Then metabolisms and the sum of all chemical and physical changes that takes place within the body. A cell is basically a structural and fundamental unit of life. The study of cells from its basic structure to the function of every cell originally is called cell biology. So Robert Hooke was the first biologist who discovered cells. So all mechanisms are made up of cells. We all know that they may be made up of single cells in unicellular, or many cells or like multicellular. So mycoplasmas are the smallest known cells. So cells are the building blocks of all living beings. They provide structure of body and convert the nutrients taken from the food into energy. So there is some function of cells like a cell performs the major function essential for growth and development of any organisms. So if we talk about different functions, like the first function is it provides support and structure. Means all organisms are made up of cells, and they form the structural basis of all organisms. The cell wall and the cell membrane are the main components that functions to provide support and structure to the organisms. And for example, the skin is made up of large number of cells. Xylem presents in the vascular plant is made of cells that provide structural support to the plants. And the second function is it facilitates growth, mitosis. In the process of mitosis, the parent cells divides into the daughter cells, and thus the cells multiply and facilitate the growth in an organisms. Other function is that it allows transport of substances. Means various nutrients are imported by the cells to carry out various chemical processes going on inside the cells, and the waste produced by the chemical processes is eliminated from the cells by active and passive transports. And small molecules such as oxygen, carbon dioxide and ethanol diffuse across the cell membrane along the concentration gradient. So this is known as passive transport. And the larger molecules diffuse across the cell's membrane through active transport, where the cells require a lot of energy to transport the substances. And moreover, there is a use in energy production, like cells require energy to carry out various chemical processes, and this energy is produced by the cells through the process called photosynthesis in plants and respiration in animals. And also it aids in reproduction. This is also one of the function of cells, that a cell aid in reproduction through the processes called mitosis and meiosis. So mitosis is termed as asexual reproductions, where the parent cells divides to form a daughter cells, and meiosis causes the daughter cells to be genetically different from the parent cells. So thus we can understand why cells are known as a structural and functional unit of life. So this is because that they are responsible for providing structure to the organisms and performs several functions necessary for carrying out the life processes. Respiration is again one of the process of gaseous exchanges and excretions, elimination of waste products from the body, and this is also one of the function of cell. Then when we see the components of cells, so a cell consists of cell membrane, which is a semi permeable membrane covering protoplasm, and the second is protoplasm. It consists of cytoplasm and nucleus, and then cytoplasm except nucleus, that rest of cell body is called cytoplasm. Component of cytoplasms, that is it consists of mitochondria like rod like structure, and it is called powerhouse of cells, and energy stored as ATP means adenosines triphosphate, and endoplasmic reticulum that participates in protein synthesis, and then Golgi body can all like structure that helps in synthesis of carbohydrate cell membrane, and lysosomes, they are vascular in shape, and it helps to digest in intracellular substances. Then the nucleus is there. The nucleus is a membrane bound organelle that contains genetic material like DNA of eukaryotic organisms. As such, it serves to maintain the integrity of the cell by facilitating transcriptions and replication processes. So it is the largest organelle inside the cells, taking up about the tenth of the entire cell's volume. So centrally located, a round mass is called nucleus, and it is separated from the cytoplasm by the nuclear membrane, and there is some function of nucleus, like it produces ribosomes, synthesize RNA and protein, and the nucleus has very important role to play. Remember that as it contains genetic material, it coordinates cells activities like protein synthesis and cell division. So anatomically, the nucleus is made up of several components like nuclear envelope, nuclear lamina, nucleus, chromosomes, and nucleoplasms are some of these components. Part of nucleus are there like nucleus membrane, nucleoplasms, nucleolus, nuclear reticulum, or chromatin. Tissue is the collection of cell having similar structure and performing a common physiological function is called tissue. A tissue is a group of cells in close proximity organized to perform one or more specific functions. So there are four basic tissues type defined by their morphology and functions, and these are epithelial tissues, connective tissues, muscle tissues, and nervous tissues. Types of tissues means epithelial tissues covering the external and internal body of surface, for example skin, internal covering of GIT, and connective tissues are there, and connects different structure of bodies and also helps to provide framework of body, for example blood, bones. Then muscular tissues are there. Muscular tissue make up the major part of the soft tissues of the body, and by means of its contractions power helps in locomotion, for example skeletal muscles, cardiac muscles. And nervous tissue is there. Nervous tissue is highly specialized tissue which controls and co-coordinates the body functions by performing nervous system, for example white matter, gray. Then comes organ. An organ, this is a collection of tissues united together to perform a particular function, that is called organ. Then skin is there. Skin is one of the human body largest organs. Skin contains sensory devices that monitor the external environment. The nerves in skin receives the stimuli that are then interpreted by the brain is touch, heat and cold. So skin is composed of three layers, and epidermis like the outer layers, and dermis the middle layer, and subcutaneous the inner layer. Then comes heart. The heart is a conical hollow muscular organ, and it is a central pumping station. It pumps blood to all parts of the body, and it covers within thin cover pericardium. So the heart is a pump, basically, usually beating about 60 to 100 times per minute. So with each heartbeat, the heart sends blood throughout the body, carrying oxygens to carry cells. After delivering the oxygens, the blood returns to the heart, and the heart then sends the blood to the lungs to pick up more oxygens. And then there are some features like four chambers are there, like left atrium and right atrium, left ventricle and right ventricle. And three layers are there: epicardium means outer, and myocardiums middles, and endocardium inners. Then four valves are there, and first is called pulmonary, and the second one is tricuspid, and the third one is mitral, and the fourth one is aortic valves. So this was all about this lessons. For being with me. Take care. Allah Hafiz.